Hey viewers, welcome to African Tales by Afi. Please kindly click the subscribe button to get notified for more amazing stories. Once upon a time, in the sunny village of Willowbrook, lived a young nurse named Lena. Lena had warm brown eyes, curly hair tied back with a blue ribbon, and the kindest heart you could ever imagine. She wasn't rich, but she worked hard every day at the little health center in the middle of town. She helped people with scrapes, fevers, and worries, and always gave a smile, even when she was tired. One cloudy morning, as Lena was sweeping the front steps of the clinic, a shiny black car stopped in front. Out stepped a tall man in a sharp gray suit and dark glasses. He looked serious, like someone from a movie. "Are you Nurse Lena?" he asked, holding a clipboard. "Yes," Lena said, trying not to stare too hard at his fancy shoes. "I work for the Delmere family. We've heard of your kindness and skill. Mr. Eliam Delmere, the billionaire, is very sick. He's been in a coma for months. We're looking for someone gentle and trustworthy to take care of him at the estate." Lena's mouth dropped open. The Delmere estate was a giant mansion up on the hill, surrounded by tall trees and white gates. Everyone in Willowbrook talked about it, but no one ever went inside. "Me? But I'm just a small-town nurse." The man smiled slightly. "That's exactly what we need." The job offered more money than Lena could dream of, but it wasn't the money that made her say yes. It was something in the man's voice. Something about Eliam Delmere being all alone in that giant house, and something in Lena's heart that whispered, "He needs you." The very next morning, Lena packed her things in a small suitcase, tied her ribbon tighter, and took a deep breath as she passed through the big white gates of the Delmere estate. The inside of the mansion was quiet, too quiet. The halls were long and covered with soft red carpets. Paintings of serious-looking people in fancy clothes lined the walls. "Follow me," said Mrs. Thistle, the head housekeeper. She was a tall, thin woman with sharp eyes and a voice like a creaky door. Lena was led into a large sunlit room filled with plants and books. In the center of it all lay a man with dark hair, peaceful and still. Machines beeped quietly beside him. "This is Mr. Eliam," Mrs. Thistle said. "He's been asleep for 8 months. The doctors say he may never wake. But your job is to keep him comfortable, read to him, talk to him, care for him." Lena stepped closer and looked at the sleeping man. His face was pale but calm, like he was dreaming of something far away. For a moment, Lena forgot the machines and the money. She simply said, "Hello, Mr. Eliam. I'm Lena. I'll be your nurse." That evening, Lena read him a story about a boy who could fly. She told him about the birds outside and the scent of fresh bread from the kitchen. She even hummed a lullaby her mother used to sing. Every day, she returned to his room, bringing flowers, playing soft music, or talking about Willowbrook. She told him jokes even though he didn't laugh, and shared little stories from her life. One day, she placed a drawing of a smiling sun and flowers on the bedside table. "You should see the garden today," she said cheerfully. "It's full of butterflies." But one morning, something strange happened. As Lena placed a warm cloth on his forehead, Eliam's fingers twitched. She gasped. "Did you move?" She waited. Nothing. "It must have been my imagination," she whispered. But later that day, as she read a poem aloud, she thought she saw his lips twitch, just a little. "Are you trying to say something, Mr. Eliam?" she asked softly. The room was silent except for the steady beep of the machines. Still, something had changed. Lena could feel it, like the wind before a storm. That night, as she left the room, Mrs. Thistle stopped her. "You've been spending a lot of time with him," she said, eyes narrow. "Yes. That's my job. Just remember," the housekeeper said slowly, "some people prefer Mr. Ilium to stay, exactly as he is." Lena frowned. What did that mean? But she didn't say anything. She just clutched her ribbon and whispered, "Good night, Mr. Ilium. Sweet dreams." And behind her, in the quiet room, one of Ilium's fingers curled ever so slightly. Lena woke up early the next morning, her mind still spinning from what she thought she saw the day before. His fingers moved, she kept thinking. His lips almost smiled. Maybe it was a dream. Maybe she was just imagining it all because she wanted him to wake up. But deep inside, something told her it was real. She tied her ribbon into a bow, packed her little brown bag with books and warm cloths, and headed to Ilium's room. The sky outside was gray, and the wind rustled the leaves like they were whispering secrets. As she entered, she whispered her usual cheerful greeting. "Good morning, Mr. Ilium. It's Lena. I brought you a story about a lion who wanted to be a baker." She placed the book on the table and started humming the song she sang every day while arranging the fresh tulips on the windowsill. Then she turned around and froze. Ilium's eyes were open. They weren't wide or alert, just barely opened, like the flutter of a butterfly's wing. But they were most certainly open. "Mr. Ilium?" she whispered, her heart racing. He blinked once. Lena's knees almost gave out. "Oh my goodness. You're awake. I mean, sort of awake. You saw me, didn't you? Blink once for yes. Blink." Lena clapped her hands and giggled, tears filling her eyes. "I knew it. I knew you were listening all along." Suddenly, the door opened. It was Mrs. Thistle again, holding her clipboard. "What's all this noise?" she asked sharply. Lena wiped her tears and turned around. He blinked. He blinked, Mrs. Thistle. "He's waking up." Mrs. Thistle walked quickly to Ilium's side and leaned over him. I don't see anything." He blinked twice. "I'm sure of it." "Well," said Mrs. Thistle coldly, "the machines say nothing's changed. Perhaps you were just excited. Too much imagination can be dangerous." Lena frowned. "But No more excitement," the housekeeper snapped. "Just do your job." She turned and walked out of the room, slamming the door. Lena looked back at Ilium. "Don't worry," she whispered. "I know what I saw." That afternoon, she told him about her school days, her pet kitten named Marmalade, and the time she got stuck in a rain barrel while trying to save a frog. Ilium blinked again. And this time, he moved his lips, just a tiny bit. Later that evening, Lena was walking down the hall when she heard whispering behind one of the tall wooden doors. "She's getting too close," someone said. "She mustn't find out what we did," said another voice. Lena paused. What they did? Who were they talking about? Carefully, she leaned in closer. There was a soft click. Someone was coming. She rushed around the corner and pretended to dust a vase. Out walked Mrs. Thistle and a tall man with a silver watch and a long coat. She had never seen him before. "Keep everything quiet," the man said. "If he wakes up, we're finished." Lena's heart thudded in her chest. They don't want Ilium to wake up. That night, she returned to Eliam's room with a flashlight hidden in her bag. Once everyone was asleep, she tiptoed back through the dark hallways and slipped inside. "I heard something today," she whispered to him. "Something strange." She pulled the covers up around his chest and leaned in close. "They don't want you to wake up. I don't know why yet, but I'm going to find out." Eliam blinked slowly, and this time, his hand twitched, his whole hand. Lena smiled. "You're getting stronger, I can feel it." Just then, the flashlight flickered and pointed toward the tall bookshelf in the corner. And that's when Lena saw it. One of the books was a little crooked. Curious, she walked over and reached for it. As she pulled it, there was a quiet click, and the whole shelf began to move. A secret door opened behind it. Lena gasped. The space inside was dark and narrow, with stone steps leading downward. "I'll be right back," she whispered to Eliam, her voice shaking. She picked up her flashlight and stepped into the darkness. Down the steps she crept, heart pounding, until she reached a dusty room full of old boxes, papers, and broken furniture. And then she saw it, an old wooden chest with Eliam's name carved into the side. She opened it slowly. Inside were letters, photos, and papers that looked very, very important. She didn't understand all of them, but some had words like will, transfer, and control of fortune. Someone had tried to take everything from Eliam while he was asleep. Lena quickly gathered what she could and slipped them into her bag. "I don't know who you can trust," she whispered later that night to Eliam, "but I promise I'm going to protect you." And for the first time, Eliam's eyes opened wide. He looked right at Lena. Soft pink light slipped through the tall windows of the mansion as dawn tiptoed into Eliam's room. Lena, who had spent the night dozing in a chair beside the bed, woke with a start when she felt a gentle squeeze on her hand. She opened her eyes and gasped. Eliam's fingers were wrapped around hers. His eyelids fluttered once, twice, and then opened. "Eliam?" Lena whispered, hardly daring to breathe. "Can you see me?" His lips parted. A dry, papery sound came out, more sigh than word. "H." Lena's whole face lit up like the morning sun. "You spoke." "Wait right here, no, don't move, I mean, do move if you can, but slowly." Eliam tried another word. "W water?" "Oh." "Yes, of course." Lena filled a small cup, then helped him sip with careful hands. He swallowed and closed his eyes, relief washing over his face. "Thank you," he whispered, voice still fragile. "You've been sleeping for so long," Lena murmured. "But you're safe now." "I'm Lena, remember? I've been talking to you every day." "I remember music," he said faintly. "And stories. Was that you?" She nodded, her curls bouncing. "All me." She leaned closer. "Eliam, someone's trying to take your fortune while you sleep. I found papers downstairs in a secret room." His brow furrowed, and a spark of determination flickered behind his tired eyes, a spark Lena had only imagined until now. "I must stop them," he croaked. "And I'll help," Lena promised. "But we have to be careful. I think Mrs. Thistle is part of it." At the very moment Lena spoke the housekeeper's name, the bedroom door creaked open. Mrs. Thistle glided in, her sharp eyes instantly noticing Eliam's half-raised head. "What is this?" she barked, clipboard trembling. "He should not be upright." "Actually," Lena said, forcing a cheery voice, "this is wonderful news. Mr. Ilium is waking. Mrs. Thistle's lips pressed into a thin line. I will fetch Dr. Garrent. Immediately. Do not move him. She spun on her heel and strode away. The door closed, but not before Lena saw the worry flash across the housekeeper's face. Ilium tugged Lena's sleeve. Danger, he whispered. I know. But you need strength first, she said, adjusting his pillows. Let's do small things, wiggle your toes, move your arms, slowly. They practiced tiny movements. Each success made Ilium's smile grow, and Lena's heart soared with hope. Later that morning, Dr. Garrent arrived, a tall man with silver spectacles. He examined Ilium, shining a light into his eyes, tapping knees, checking machines. This is unexpected, he muttered. In a good way, right? Lena asked. Dr. Garrent hesitated. Yes, remarkable. I'll order new tests. After he left, a soft knock came. It was old cook Job, a round-bellied man with a kind face dusted in flour. I heard the master opened his eyes, he whispered. Thought this might help. He held out a small bowl of warm vegetable broth. Thank you, Job, Lena said gratefully. As Job shuffled away, he slipped Lena a folded note. She tucked it in her pocket until the hallway was clear, then opened it beside Ilium. Be wary of Mrs. Thistle and Mr. Rook, the man with the silver watch. They meet tonight in the conservatory at 10. Something about a lawyer and a new will. A new will, Ilium echoed, voice a little stronger. They want control. But they won't get it, Lena said fiercely. Tonight, I'll listen and find proof. Ilium's hand tightened around hers. Too risky, for you. I'm brave, Lena chuckled, though her stomach fluttered like a net of butterflies. Plus, I have help. Job knows secret passages, and the gardener, Miss Willow, trusts me too. Ilium smiled, a real, warm smile that reached his eyes. Thank you, Lena. Just then, Mrs. Thistle swept back in with a tray, and Dr. Garrent at her heels. Enough chatter, she said. The patient needs rest. Lena stepped back as the doctor adjusted Ilium's machines. But as she turned to leave, Ilium's eyes found hers, and he blinked twice, their private signal for stay brave. Night draped the mansion in velvet shadows. At 9:30, Lena tiptoed down a dim corridor, clutching the small flashlight and the key Job had given her. Every creak in the floorboards sounded like a thunderclap in her ears. She reached a narrow service door, slipped inside, and followed a spiral stair to the glass-roofed conservatory, where moonlight painted silver stripes across towering ferns. Hidden behind a giant potted palm, she waited. At precisely 10 o'clock, Mrs. Thistle arrived with Mr. Rook. He was tall, thin, and his silver watch flashed in the moonlight. It's almost over, Mr. Rook said, voice as smooth as ice. The lawyer will bring the new will tomorrow. Once Ilium is declared unfit to manage his affairs, everything moves to our names. And that nosy nurse? Mrs. Thistle asked. We'll let her go. Quietly. People like her are easily frightened. Lena clenched her fists. We'll see about that. Suddenly, a tiny sneeze squeaked from behind the fern, a chew echoing like cannon fire in Lena's frozen ears. What was that? Mr. Rook hissed. Footsteps approached. Lena's heart hammered. She backed away, straight into a metal watering can, which toppled with a clatter. There! Mrs. Thistle shouted. Lena darted through the foliage, dodging a. The morning sun spilled gold across the rose gardens as Lena stood by Eliam's bedside, her hands trembling just slightly. Today was the day. The day the house would learn the truth. The day Eliam would reclaim his voice, his name, and his future. "You're sure you're ready?" she asked gently. Eliam nodded, slowly but firmly. His color had returned. His words were still soft, but his spirit was stronger than ever. "I've been asleep too long," he said. "It's time I wake up, for good." Together, they practiced sitting upright. Lena buttoned a pale blue cardigan over Eliam's chest and combed his hair neatly to the side. His shoes were waiting at the foot of the bed, polished by old cook Job, who had even packed Eliam's favorite cinnamon buns in a napkin for later. "You look like a prince," Lena said with a wink. He smiled. "And you, Lena, are my knight." At exactly 10 o'clock, the grand drawing room was filled with tension. Mrs. Thistle stood near the fireplace, her eyes sharp. Mr. Rook checked his silver watch every few seconds, and the lawyer, a nervous man with round glasses, flipped through a stack of legal documents. "The new will is ready to be signed," Mr. Rook announced. With Mr. Eliam still unresponsive, the doors flung open. Everyone turned. There, standing tall, though wobbly, was Eliam, one hand gripping Lena's arm, the other resting on a cane. His eyes swept the room like a royal hawk. "Unresponsive?" Eliam said, his voice low but clear. "That's odd, because I feel very awake." The lawyer dropped his papers. Mrs. Thistle gasped. Mr. Rook's face turned the color of old porridge. This is impossible." "Hello to you too, Rook," Eliam said. "Funny how a near-death sleep helps a man learn who he can trust." The housekeeper quickly recovered. "Mr. Eliam, this is all too sudden. You must be confused. We were only trying to steal everything I own?" Eliam interrupted, eyes narrowing. "Lena heard your plans. She found the hidden documents, the fake will, the lies." Mr. Rook stepped forward. "You can't prove anything." "Oh," said Lena, stepping forward, "but we can." She opened her satchel and handed the lawyer a bundle of papers she had copied from the secret room, letters, signatures, plans. And then, with a grin, she added, "And we have a recording too. From the conservatory last night." Mrs. Thistle's face went pale. "You recorded us?" Mr. Rook barked. "With help from Miss Willow," Lena said. She tucked the recorder under a fern. "Lovely acoustics in there." The lawyer's eyes scanned the documents, then listened to the recording on Lena's phone. This is a disaster," he said. "Mrs. Thistle. Mr. Rook. I cannot honor your version of the will. In fact, I may need to report this to the authorities." Eliam nodded. "Please do." Mrs. Thistle's shoulders slumped. Mr. Rook opened his mouth, but no words came out. 2 security guards entered the room, Job must have called them, and quietly escorted the pair out of the house. Later that day, the mansion was full of sunshine and laughter. Eliam sat in the garden with Lena beside him, sipping warm cider and nibbling on a cinnamon bun. Miss Willow tended to the roses while Job served tiny sandwiches shaped like stars. "You were so brave," Eliam said. Lena shrugged bashfully. "You were braver. You fought to wake up." "I woke up because of you," he said softly. "You talked to me. Sang to me. Cared when no one else did." Lena blushed. I just did what felt right. Well, Ilium said with a twinkle in his eye, what feels right now is asking if you'll stay. Not just as a nurse. As my friend. My partner. Maybe even more. Lena's eyes widened. You mean, like more? Ilium chuckled. Like more. She smiled shyly and reached for his hand. Then yes. I'd like that. As long as we keep cinnamon buns on the menu. Always, he grinned. In the days that followed, things changed quickly. The mansion reopened to the village, inviting children for story time and music. Ilium donated part of his fortune to build a free clinic and made Lena its first director. She wore her ribbon in her hair every day, now tied with a tiny silver charm Ilium gave her, a symbol of strength, hope, and second chances. And every evening, they'd walk through the garden, hand in hand, laughing and dreaming of what tomorrow might bring. From nurse and patient to heroes of their own fairy tale. And they lived, not perfectly, but joyfully, bravely, and happily ever after. Hello tribe, hope we enjoyed today's story. Please kindly put what you've learned in the comments section. Please remember to hit the like button, share this to your friends and family as well as subscribe to see you on the next one. Bye.